Hey guys, welcome back to the Aerospace³ project, and in this video I'll be showcasing the Airbus A319 and Airbus A321, kind of going off the last video where I showed off the initial Airbus A320 that I built. But before we get into that, let me just kind of go over a few things. I know this video was planned on coming out 2 months ago. This video has been delayed for 2 months, and that's mostly due to just not expecting as much schoolwork as I had planned on having this semester, but also because me and a lot of the team members on Gantry 4.1 have been working hard on finishing up a last couple of areas on Titanic so that we could get a new update video out to you guys who are interested in that project really soon. So look forward to that, but just know that the goal of this project is still to have a video out every month. Next month I plan on showcasing the Embraer 190, and that's a smaller plane just so I can get back into the rhythm of things. And so look forward to that. Look forward to the download that's going to be coming at the end of the month for these. And I'll kind of go over some more at the end of the video. But for now, let's get into changes that have occurred for the A320 between last video and the download and right now in this video. The first thing is, for all the A320s, including this new JetBlue here that I'll kind of go over in a second, is that the radome now has the radar in the nose cone. So that was added. I don't know why I forgot to add that in the last video, but I did. But now it's been included. Also, for all the A320s that have sharklets, they have been moved forward to be attached to the wing kind of in line with the end of the wing itself. Initially they were pushed one block back, but again, that's just a little minor change that I made just looking at pictures when I was building the A319s and the A321s, which we'll get over there in, a few minutes. It didn't look right, and so now I've lined up all the winglets on the planes. So for all of you people who have gone over to the Planet Minecraft page and have downloaded these planes for yourselves, updated planes and new planes, like new liveries, which I'll go over in a second, that I've made since last time, those will be done. The download will be updated once all the planes are done. I'll go back and I'll update everything that I've added, from suggestions to like minor updates to the structure of planes, just minor differences. They'll be updated and then they'll all be done at once. So that's for you guys to keep in mind. If you're interested in, these planes for yourself, I recommend, like right now, I'd recommend just building them, but without anything else really structurally changed on the A320s. Let me kind of go over the differences to the JetBlue livery specifically, and this whole line of JetBlues, well, 3 more to be exact, that I've added since last time. And that's mostly because when doing the A321s, I realized that JetBlue really only has one variation on the tail fin that they do for the A321s. So I decided to add in a couple more for the A320s, just because when I do the Embraer, there's only going to be like a couple left to do that you haven't seen so far. Oh, and the billboard design here is updated. The J kind of loops a bit lower, so that's been updated, and the billboard just text has been altered just a bit. And JetBlue is now written on the engine. So, the tailfin design here, starting from the back, I would have called it plaid. They call it tartan or tartan. I'm not really sure which way to pronounce it, but to me it's plaid. It looks pretty cool, and because it's one of their newer designs, I went with the sharklets, because that's what they're going to be adding on all, A320s from now on, just because they have the highest efficiency. And, of course, it's a V2500, like all JetBlues. Moving to a really old design, but my personal favorite, is the bubbles design. Now, I'm pretty sure this tailfin design has been phased out of JetBlue's fleet. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know it's from their early days. I think back to 2003. This one may have come out in 2005, I can't remember. But because it's so old, I decided to take off the sharklets and winglets, either variation, and just have the wings bare. So this is actually the only A320 I have right now that is without sharklets or winglets, either one. And then moving forward to the last new JetBlue is they call it Harlequin. It's the diamond pattern, but of course in such limited space, I had to settle for 2x1 rectangles. So it's like a elongated checkerboard pattern, basically. Just in the real design, it's a checkerboard of diamonds. And that's pretty much it for JetBlue. And then also the new plane I built is a Delta A320 with CFM 56-5A engines. And, you know, when I was building the A319s and A321s, I just kept thinking to myself that I really need to do a Delta A320. And that's really just because when Delta bought Northwest back in, I think it was like 2006 or 2008, Northwest had all their, you know, Airbus A319s and A320s. And so it would really be inappropriate to leave out such a large proportion of the American A320s that have been repainted as Delta. So now we have a Delta A320. And that's it for the changes and additions to the A320s. I did get a lot of suggestions in the comments for the A320 video and in the comments on the PMC A320 download. And those additions will be made, those new planes. I know a lot of the planes and a lot of people's comments reflect that a lot of the planes I choose to build and a lot of the companies are very European or North American centric. I don't think I do. I will have more planes from like JAL, Air China, KLM later on with different planes, but I do know that a lot of Asian airlines do use A320s and A321s and A319s. So those extra additions will be made later on. I'll build those when I have time, once everything else that I have a higher priority for is finished. But, you know, guys, in the meantime, since these downloads are available, feel free to, you know, take the Airbus house fuselage and, you know, repaint it and refurnish it, you know, furnish it for yourselves with whatever airplanes you guys feel, you know, see fit or need for your airports. And chances are I'll need, you know, some of them for my airport as well. It's just when I was building these and just going through the list of carriers that use A320s, 21s, and 19s, like, really I just focused on the ones that, you know, came to mind that I would need for a North American / European airport. And even, this wouldn't even really work for a European airport, because then I'm missing things like Air Berlin, Aer Lingus, and, you know, all sorts of different companies that should be added and will be added in the future. But without further ado, join me in a second when I get over to the A319s and we'll actually show off a new plane. You know, 10 minutes into this video. See you then. Okay guys, here we are back at the front. It takes a while to fly all the way back up here, but at the front of the A319s, on the right, just like the A320s over there, we have the CFM 56-5As, and on the left we have the V2500s. So the A319 generally will seat, depending on its configuration, what the company itself needs, will seat about 124 people. Its length is a little bit shorter than the A320 at 33.84 meters. The width is the same, the height is the same as before. None of that changes. But the A319, as far as I could tell, is more popular than the A321, but less popular than the A320. That's probably because a lot of regional or, you know, less international companies might see use in an A319, where they might not see it in an A321. And just in general, the A319 is a little bit more, used throughout the world in terms of the companies that might use it. So don't really need to go over the house liveries of either one. You've seen them before, but we can go over a new addition, which is American Airlines in their new livery. So when American Airlines decided to update, I can't remember when the news initially came out. It was probably like 2013 or 14 when they announced that they were like rebranding. Initially, I really did not like their new design for the tail and just the fuselage in general, like the new paint scheme or the new logo. I still think the AA looks a little bit better, but overall the planes have grown on me a little bit. I used to not like it at all, but now I think it's generally okay. It looks okay. And, it definitely looks different than really any other paint scheme that any of the other companies are using. Because, I mean, when you look just at the planes I've built, you just see a sea of white fuselages. And, seeing American Airlines, that was one of the great things about American Airlines in the past was they still use the bare aluminum skins, but with the new carbon fiber 787 and coming out very, very soon, Airbus A350, they wouldn't be able to do that anymore. And if they're going to keep their fleet updated and kind of in the present, they would have to rebrand basically all their planes just to be able to include those in their new fleet. So we will actually go inside this plane because I think it's pretty interesting. The lavatory is obviously going to be the same. Everything's going to be very, very similar to a Airbus A320, but just kind of get a sense that this version is more of a transcontinental version. They got 2 closets up front. They have first class with monitors. I'd like to see, I travel on American Airlines a lot, and I'd really like to see myself having those monitors sometime, but never occurs to me. But we'll kind of get into a plane that I travel on quite a bit a little bit later. But it's got the video TV monitors for in-flight entertainment. You come back here, and you've got the galleys again, and then the 2 rear lavatories. Pretty standard. And the rest of these are all going to be very similar to things you've seen before in the previous video, because all of these companies repeat. But we're just going to kind of fly back down the line to another new company that you have not seen in the previous video, and that is Frontier. Now Frontier, I had a lot of fun doing the libraries, paint schemes, especially the tails for these. The text was it took me a couple tries to get the length of the text correct, and this side doesn't look as good just because you have the cargo doors on that side. But on the other side, you can see that it does spell Frontier. And we have, in this one, we have a deer. I basically just have to tell you, because making animals in this small of a space, kind of like pixel arty, is pretty difficult. But you can see it's got 1 ear, 2 eyes. This is supposed to be like the white-tailed spot deer, spots on the back, whatever. And then the interior, I was surprised. They actually got it pretty nice. I was shocked when I found out that even though Frontier generally has only 1 class, it's economy, they have monitors for all the seats. So that's cool. And then they have the Wi-Fi bubble, kind of like JetBlue actually. Then when I was doing them, they reminded me a lot of JetBlue with their different tails. I only have 3. Coming up we have, I don't know the official names of them, but this is like a gray wolf, and that's supposed to be like smoke coming out of its mouth. I mean, it's like condensation because it's really cold, but whatever. That one probably turned out the best, but the one right here is my favorite because you've got this extremely derpy bear just kind of squatting, and that one you could probably kind of tell what it is without me telling you, but I think it's pretty hilarious. So tell me in the comments which one you thought looked the worst, looked the funniest, and which one was actually the best attempt. Because all of them were really hard to do. And I might do more in the future. I remember seeing one that was like a flamingo, and there were like birds and like different habitats. I just picked 3 that were different enough to kind of get a good start with the Frontier A319s. Anyways, that's it for those, and join me in a second when I fly all the way over and we'll showcase the A321. Alright, see you guys there. Okay, we're back here, and let me kind of go over what's different about the A321. So the A321 is an extended fuselage of the A320. The real big difference here is that companies will be able to seat, instead of a smaller number of passengers, they'll be able to seat 185, depending on the configuration, of course, and if they have a business class or even first class, as we'll see when we kind of go inside 2 different planes here. But the length is extended to 44.51 meters. Height and width are exactly the same as usual. And you might notice that I only have 1 line of A321s, and that's because the ones I needed to build initially, the only version I saw was all of them use the V2500s. So I only need 1 line. If I end up building A321s that use CFM engines, I'll have to build another line. I'll probably move these to the side and put it in here just so I keep up right, left with the Airbus A320s. But going on to the American Airlines A321, this is the transcontinental version. It uses sharklets. I mean, a lot of the American A321s, not just the transcontinental versions, uses sharklets. But there's one back there with winglets. But this one specifically is transcontinental. We won't go inside this one. I think JetBlue's international first class is more interesting to look at, so we'll kind of go on that one. But this one has 2 closets, and then you can see here it's got first class, and then just because of the text itself, imagine that the windows are closed. Otherwise it looks kind of broken. And yeah. And then moving back, we have the loading cargo doors. Just like the A320, it has the smaller cargo baggage door here for loading, and then you obviously have the cargo boxes that go in the back, rear, and the front. The A319 is missing this door. I'm pretty sure you guys noticed it when we were flying to the side of those. I just forgot to mention it. And we'll actually go inside this one because this gives me a lot of memories all the time. I was actually debating building a US Airways A321, technically American Airlines now, but for the sole purpose of American Airlines uses probably the most A321s out of any airline company I've seen, and the majority of them come from US Airways. I fly in this plane so much. Just a couple weeks ago, I could actually show you where I was sitting. I was sitting actually right here, I believe. No, it actually was a little bit further back. It was behind the exit. I want to actually be able to see the window though. So I was sitting probably right here. You would be able to see the engine. Yeah, I was sitting right here. It was like 9A. And the interesting thing about the A321s is that, oh, that'll need to be fixed. That should be extended, kind of like the others. That'll be fixed, don't worry. The interesting thing is the majority of them include a lavatory or a galley or something kind of near the rear, kind of near the center, just so passengers don't have to walk all the way to the back and all the way to the front just to be able to reach, a lavatory if they're sitting in the middle here. So that's a good design decision. And then when I was looking at seating plans, I didn't really notice it when I was flying, but on the seating plans they always showed that there would be sometimes a seat missing, like they would have extra space for the rear emergency exit, well, like the center rear. So I thought that was kind of interesting that that is something that's put into a lot of these A321s. And then moving back, you have the two rear exits and galleys and lavatories. Here we have a Lufthansa. It's Lufthansa. Thank you for the suggestion or the correction in the previous video. I don't know why I was pronouncing it like I had a lisp, but it is Lufthansa. Kind of like Luftwaffe, if anyone is familiar with the German aviation during World War II, the aviation branch of the German military. We won't go inside that one. That one's kind of bland. It's just a lot of rows of the similar seating as you've seen in the previous A320 version. This one, JetBlue, the tail design is called Prism, and it's the only version I saw of the A321. So there it is. And then moving back, we'll go into the international version because this is probably the fanciest business / first class I've had to build so far on my planes. You have regular business seating, but then it's also spaced in between with actually full reclining first class seats. I thought that was really cool when I saw the plans and I looked on the pictures. And then there's like glass here. It's hard to add entirely on these, but then they had like this like blue like nice light and glass like divider between the business / first class and then the economy seating. They also have a lavatory here. I would put the door here if it were not for this line of carpet. And I don't know if I've shown it, but the reason why this carpet is here, not only as like kind of like the walkway, the center line walkway that is like down the entire length of the airplane, but it also covers up the lighting because it's impossible for me to put it on the ceiling. So I could not put it here without either getting rid of the light in that spot, getting rid of the carpet and breaking it up with just like blue. I thought that would look bad. So just this is the lavatory here and the door is there. That's just how it goes. And then moving back, they have all video monitors like TV so they can watch in-flight stuff. There's that. It's kind of funny when you walk on the edge of this because that is packed ice. You kind of slip around. And then moving all the way back, it's going to be the same as all the others. So I know this video is kind of long. There was a lot to show off. There was actually two totally different aircraft. I mean, not totally different. It's just a variation of what you guys have seen before. But I hope you guys enjoyed because the next video is going to be a lot shorter just because it is the Embraer 190. And really the only aircraft I'm going to be building the Embraer 190 in is like JetBlue, maybe KLM. I can't remember the other. I think Avianca might have an Embraer 190. I saw like a Google image, like when I searched up like just images of Embraer 190s just to start getting an idea. And I saw an Avianca version. I don't think that's true, but it might be. I thought Avianca only had A321s, A319s, and A320s, but I could be wrong. New aircraft I'm thinking about putting, because I know there isn't very many A321s here. I mean, that is kind of representative. There isn't very many in comparison to the A320 and A319, like the amount that are in service. But I was thinking about building maybe a Turkish Airlines A321, putting it right here. But if you guys have any suggestions for any more you'd like to see, feel free to leave that in the comments. And as usual, a download will be put up at the end of the month. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys. See ya.